World AIDS Day on the 1st of December 2017, the South African National AIDS Council, SANAC, urges South Africans to mark each Friday by participating in Red Ribbon Fridays as a build-up to a World AIDS Day on the 1st of December. Now, this year's World AIDS Day theme, it is Let Our Actions Count. It is my right to know my status. Prevention is my responsibility. It also encourages us to make our actions count and take personal and collective responsibility to prevent new HIV infections. But to talk to us more about the Red Ribbon Fridays and where South Africa stands in terms of infections, we're joined now by Dr. Sandile Buthelezi, CEO of the South African National AIDS Council. Dr. Buthelezi, good morning. Thank you so much for coming through.
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers.
Thank you so much indeed. Just before we get into the issue of Red Ribbons Friday, new infections. I know I covered the World AIDS Day event in Ekurhuleni last year, and I was very much worried about the rate of new infections, more so amongst young women here in South Africa.
Yes, it's a serious problem that we're facing. I mean, as we are pushing with the treatment agenda, but we can see that we're not going as fast as we want to in terms of new infections. Here in South Africa, in 2016 alone, we had about 270,000 new infections, which is actually about 15% of new infections globally, which is around 1.8 million new infections. And the problem we're facing is that 34% of these are in women 15 to 24 years of age, which is really a problem for the country.
It is. But what is contributing towards these large numbers?
Yeah, well, there's quite a number of factors, but most of them are social and structural drivers of HIV. Poverty, economic opportunities, inequality, gender-based violence. And we've also done the studies, phylogenetic studies, which have actually shown that most of these women are actually infected by men 25 to 40 years of age who hardly know their status, hardly use condoms, and are known also to be alcohol abusers. So
what should happen now? Because these are mainly socioeconomic problems.
Yes.
It's a difficult one.
Yes, it's a difficult one because, I mean, if we only have a biomedical approach to HIV prevention, we will not be able to address these issues. Hence, we are actually moving on with programs that address issues around gender-based violence. You will note that last weekend we're in Cape Town, where we had a men's parliament and then we had a men's march to parliament, where men are standing up and saying, you know, not in my name. Let's actually change this. Let's stop the issue of gender-based violence, but let's also ensure that we look after our young sisters and not take advantage of them.
Yeah. And the issue of accessibility of antiretrovirals, it looks like there is light at the end of the tunnel, although we're not yet there.
Yes. I mean, in South Africa, currently we have about 4.2 million people on treatment. And you know that we have an estimated 7.1 million people. So that means there's still a long way to go. But actually the country is moving faster. I mean, with the test and treat strategy now, we think we'll be getting more people into treatment and ensuring that everyone actually who's HIV positive does access treatment. And what's very interesting is that 3.9 million of these people are within the public sector and about 270,000 of them are within the private sector. So you can see the public sector is taking the large bulk of people.
Yeah. Now, onto the Red Ribbon Fridays. We know that Red Ribbons has always been a symbol of solidarity and, of course, commitment to the fight against HIV and AIDS. But talk to us about this new program of encouraging South Africans to wear their red ribbons every Friday.
Yes, I'm sure you would have noticed over the past 5 to 10 years there's been some complacency around the whole issue of HIV. Now we're trying to invigorate the fight around HIV by showing solidarity and commitment fighting HIV. So we're actually encouraging all South Africans of all ages, of all layers of the society to ensure that at least on a Friday, please wear the red ribbon to work, to school, encourage your friends, but also create dialogue around HIV. We need to start talking about HIV. I mean, you hardly hear about HIV these days, either on TV, either on radio, yet we still have the world's largest epidemic. So we're saying, please, let's try and encourage and ensure that within workplaces on Fridays we get testing services, we talk about HIV, and everyone must wear a red ribbon.
But why are we not having that conversation? Is it perhaps the stigma attached to HIV and AIDS?
Yes, I mean, there's still people who still think that if I'm wearing a red ribbon, I'm HIV positive. Yeah. It's really solidarity, but it's also showing your personal commitment. Because if you don't get each individual taking a commitment and making a commitment to fighting HIV, we will never win the war.
But why are we saying just on Fridays? Why is it not every day of the week?
Actually, it should be every day of the week, but we thought that if we push for Friday and then try to get people to get used to it, it will eventually be every day of the week.
All right. So this year's World AIDS Day theme, let our actions count. It is my right to know my status, but prevention is also my responsibility.
Yes, true. That is, we must take personal responsibility as South Africans to ending HIV.
All right. World AIDS Day, where is it commemorated this year?
Yes, this year on the 1st of December will be in Umtata, in the Eastern Cape, where the chairperson of the South African National AIDS Council, His Excellency the Deputy President, will actually deliver the message for the day.
All right, Dr. Buthelezi, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much indeed for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.